I have a confession to make. I lied to you. While traveling the US with Joe, I often claimed that we couldn't get certain American foods in the UK. Things like tater tots, Philly cheesesteaks, Texas barbecue, you name it. But it turns out I might have been wrong. So now it's time for me to review a new food on this channel, humble pie. I found a bunch of restaurants serving up some delicious and authentic American food right here in London. I'm gonna visit them all, order everything on the menus that I didn't think we could find here in the UK, and tell you how they compared to the real versions I tried with Joe. As usual, I've got some very special guests joining me. I'm on my way to meet the first one at the first spot right now. We're heading for some Texas barbecue right here in London. We're here at Texas Joe's Slow Smoked Meats with the UK's favourite American, Kate Geordie.
I love that, favorite American.
Thanks so much for joining.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
I wanted to get the opinions of a bona fide American on this American food that I'm trying in the UK. For those who might not have seen you before, you are an American, now living in the UK, and you make a lot of great content about your experiences.
Yes, for sure.
So you have spent some time in Texas before?
Yeah, I was a wee little lad. My dad was in the military, so I was in San Antonio, so Texas, yeah.
I spent some time in Texas, and I had a lot of very good barbecue out there. I've never had like Texas-style barbecue here in the UK, so I'm really interested to see how it matches up to what I've had out there as well. Do you have any kind of expectations going into this?
It's tough because we're so far away from Texas and the United States, so to get it to match perfectly to American barbecue would be tough. But I'm looking at all the decor, and it seems pretty legit to places I've been to back home. So
it's a fun
good
vibe,
start.
Right? Yeah,
it's a good
decked the
vibe.
place out. We've got statues, we've got paintings, we've got longhorn cattle horns right above you right now.
And also, I was walking from the station, and I could smell it from like a block away.
Yeah,
so that's always a good sign.
That's a really good sign.
Yeah.
I have a ton more questions to ask you about American food, your experiences in the UK. However, I'm also hungry. Are you hungry?
Oh, bro, come on, yeah. I'm always hungry, bro. I'm a big guy.
So I feel like we're gonna order the classics. The Texas Trinity, as I learned while I was out there, brisket, ribs, sausage. And then there's some really good looking sides as well. There's some sides that I don't think I've seen in the UK before. We're talking Frito pie, for example.
I'm actually low-key so excited about that.
So we'll get some of that. Also, some of like the drinks and the sides as well. Like they have Big Red on the menu here, so we've got to get a couple of
Big Red is chef's kiss. I just want to say, smells freaking good and looks amazing.
It smells really good. So I did get a peek in the kitchen. They're like smoking this properly. They've got proper brisket on the go. These ribs, these are probably the biggest pork ribs I've ever seen.
There are thickums.
This looks very reminiscent of the barbecue place I had in Texas. It's got all the elements. We've got the Texas Trinity, we've got the brisket, we've got the sausage, we've got the ribs, we've got the pickles, the slaw, white bread as well. I mean, it's got everything we need, as well as the sides. I think we should start eating. Should we maybe start with the brisket? Do a little brisket review to kick us off?
Let's start with the brisket.
Okay. Texans take the brisket very seriously. They are doing things kind of like the Texan way here in terms of they're just seasoning this with salt and pepper. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
And then it gets slow smoked for, I think, around 10 hours, they were saying.
Goodness gracious.
Okay.
This is tough. This is a tough boy.
On the firmer side, as far as briskets that I've had go, more of the ones I had in America would fall apart at the touch, whereas this one, it's got a little bit of bounce to it.
You can taste the smokiness.
You can. It's definitely got that like smoked ring around the outside, and it is just that like classic seasoning blend of like coarse black pepper, kosher salt. It's kind of all you need. Like it should taste of beef. It shouldn't taste of various other things. I will say definitely on the firmer side compared to pretty much every brisket I've had so far.
Yeah.
This is like the lean brisket from the flat part versus
this guy knows this food properly. Goodness gracious.
They didn't give us a choice. Sometimes they would be like, oh, do you want like fatty brisket or lean brisket?
Okay.
This is just lean brisket. None of that point fat. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes maybe I miss that the fattiness that kind of like dissolve melts in your mouth.
That is the one thing, it's quote unquote downside. It is a bit tough. Like anytime it's hard to cut with a stick knife, you're like, wait a minute.
A sip of Big Red to wet the whistle.
I just want to say, it's mad seeing something this much color again. Yes, it's visually appealing, but this red dye is insane. It screams America.
It's that good red 40. Man,
on to the next? Yeah, I'm having a tough time cutting this thing, man.
Okay, Geordie is struggling with the brisket, unfortunately. Right. Ribs were the thing that kind of like caught my eye first.
Goodness gracious.
I mean, just look at the size of that. Also, we got juice, we got drippage.
Drippage.
Look at the size of this thing.
Oh my God.
I think this is pork. It might be dinosaur, but
I wouldn't doubt it.
find out. Do you want to grab yourself the other rib?
Oh my God.
Where are they getting these pigs? It smells good.
It smells really
I'm
good.
digging in. I'm diving in. I can't lie, I immediately prefer that to the brisket.
Yeah.
That is tender, juicy. You still get the seasoning, like the bark on the outside. But in terms of, I think like texture-wise, that's exactly what I'm looking for in a rib.
I think it's seasoned just right because sometimes some barbecue places, US or UK, tend to overcompensate with the seasoning and almost that's all you can taste. But it lets the rib kind of do its thing. I like that.
Definitely. A lot of ribs that I've had in the UK that maybe even like claim to be American style, they just like slather it in barbecue sauce.
Yep.
Everything's covered. Whereas this one, it's pretty much just salt and pepper, and then you just get like such a nice pork meaty flavor from it. Right?
Are you not a sauce fan though? Because for me, I'll be honest, I'm a sauce whore.
Sauce guy.
I love sauce almost too much.
Look, I'll try the K Geordie way.
Yeah.
Let's sauce it up a bit. You've got a barbecue, you're okay. It's not that I'm not a sauce guy. I think just in general, I would prefer to taste the thing I'm eating rather than the sauce. And I think sauce is like sometimes used as like a mask for lower quality stuff. I think that's broadly where I stand on sauce. But I do like it in the right circumstances. Like I'm obviously going to put ketchup on a bacon sandwich. Bit of that barbecue sauce on now.
Bam.
That's good stuff. Yeah. I think because these ribs are so thick, you can actually put a fair bit of sauce on them and it won't just completely mask the flavor. You're still actually tasting the pork, which is nice.
I can say my dad would love this. If Dad, you're watching this, I know you would heavily enjoy this.
You need to get Papa Geordie over to London.
Oh hell yeah. You'll love it.
As I learned in Texas, there are 3 meats as part of what they call the Texas Trinity. Brisket, ribs, and sausage. I think we should try. These are made in-house. These are beef hot links. Give it a go.
Cheers.
See how this lives up.
No. This is my favorite by far.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Okay.
It's flavorful. I love the texture of it.
Yep.
And I think it does the job very, very well. Oh yeah.
It's got a little bit of heat to it. It's kind of got like a slightly red coloring in there, which makes me think there's probably like maybe a little cayenne in there, you know.
What would you say is the biggest difference between UK sausage and American sausage that you've noticed? I know you guys love Cumberland sausages. That's very popular here in the UK. as well.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of like a UK sausage, it's like a Cumberland. When I think of an American sausage, I'm probably thinking more like this, like smoked, smoky flavors, a bit of spice, or just a hot dog.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So the sausage is actually your favorite bit so far of what we tried. Interesting.
100%. I know. It's a rogue take, I'll be honest. It's a rogue take, but it's very tasty.
I like that you used the word rogue. We've trained you well in the British lingo.
I'm learning, baby.
While we were eating that, they very kindly actually brought over some of the point brisket. So how much do you know about the anatomy of a brisket?
I know 0%.
Okay.
When you said point, I was like,
Please allow me to Brit-splain brisket to an American.
and that,
So a brisket is like got 2 muscle parts basically.
Okay.
There's a kind of long flat bit that goes underneath, and then there's a point bit which is like a separate muscle that's kind of connected to it. And the point sits on top and has much higher fat content. So obviously when you smoke that over a long period of time, that fat kind of like breaks down, renders out. In theory makes for a much juicier cut.
tender. She must have read your mind because you were just talking about that earlier. So
I did, had some thoughts on the tenderness of the flat brisket here. I don't know if they overheard or if they are just psychic, but they have brought us over some point fatty brisket. Do you want to have a little try?
yeah, hell yeah.
I'm gonna grab myself a little piece. I mean, it looks
yeah,
looks more tender, right?
Looks as
one.
it is passing. Good.
This one
God.
as well. Like the other one, I kind of struggled to pull apart, but with this one, it does definitely It's still not exactly giving. I will say it's kind of accordioning on me a little bit. I have still had to employ the knife and fork, which I think if I have any Texans watching this, some of them may have thoughts, but I'm gonna give it a try.
All right, you know what? Oh, I'm having such a tough time with this meat. All right, let's see.
That definitely goes some way to addressing the tenderness issue that the flat had. Do you prefer that?
I gotta be honest, I gotta stay strong with the flat brisket.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
I know.
interesting.
Oddly enough.
I think I might just about prefer the point, actually.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think when I eat brisket, the brisket that I've had in the past, and again, some of that is very authentic Texas barbecue, it is very tender, it's juicy. I think also, for some reason, I'm getting like more of the kind of like pepper bark on that one as well. So for me, this one is like nice, very beefy. That one is more just what I think of when I think of brisket.
Something a little more subtle that I liked about the black brisket. It was more smoky.
Okay.
Maybe it was the piece I had, but
Yeah.
I like that part about it as well.
Okay. We also have some sides.
My favorite
You're a
part.
mac and cheese guy?
Oh,
I'm gonna have a look at this Frito pie.
that looks good.
So, as I mentioned in the intro to this video, which you haven't seen, basically I often stated things while I was in America, such as, Frito pie, we don't have that in the UK. And people got understandably a little upset. So I'm righting the wrongs today, and I'm proving that we do in fact have things like Frito pie right here in the UK.
Shout out
I'm gonna give it a
to the
try.
UK for having Frito pie.
Which, I mean, it's impressive because we don't even have like Fritos in the UK. We have like Doritos. I guess you could try and make like a
But
Dorito
even the
pie.
Doritos here are so much different than our Doritos.
They
But
really are.
I have a hot take that I think is going to really piss off a lot of people, especially with America's viewing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. Ever since I was little, I've always been a fan of sides more than the main meal.
Interesting.
I know. It's a weird one. but
That's a weird take,
I'm a
man.
sides guy.
You're a
to me,
side,
they
you're a
make-
side man.
I'm a for sure.
Why is that?
I think it's the variation of flavors.
Yeah.
Because sides are so many different. Like it complements the meal, and to me, without the side, it's not complete. Like imagine, I mean, you might be different, but having a brisket with just a brisket with nothing else to kind of support it.
Yeah.
Like for example, having the pickles or it kind of changes the flavor palette a little bit.
No, I do agree. I think
Yeah.
sides are like a very important part of a meal. I assume at this point you've had like a British Christmas dinner?
I have, yes.
Because I will say, like, you ask most Brits, I don't think anyone's going to say that the turkey is their favourite part of a Christmas dinner. It's going to be like the roasties, the gravy, the pigs in blankets, the stuffing. The turkey is like, it's an important centerpiece.
It's the backbone. It's the heartbeat of that dinner.
Let's see how these sides
Okay,
stack up.
I'm
though.
excited.
I do love mac and cheese. This looks like a real good mac and cheese.
I was gonna say, off the looks, they've killed it with the creaminess of it.
That is creamy mac.
Let's go.
That's pretty legit. Uh-huh.
Compared to what I've had in the UK, it's up there. It might be top 2.
Wow.
A lot of places here in the UK, whether it's barbecue or mac and cheese in general, they make it very cheesy, but there's no cream, it's not very saucy. I want a good mix of creamy and sauce, but this one was a very good mixture of both.
Definitely. Really good. You get the cheese, very creamy, like you say. Pasta's cooked really well as well. What I don't like is when you get a mac and cheese as well that's like been cooked for way too long, and the pasta inside it is just like completely broken down,
Like mush.
sludgy mess. Yeah.
100%.
Whereas this actually still has a little bit of bite to it, which I like.
What would you give it?
Yeah, it's scoring highly for me. That's like a solid 8, 9 out of 10 mac and cheese.
How you liking the Frito pie?
I'm liking it. Again, not something you would commonly find in the UK. Just again, we don't really have Fritos, like, so it's not something that we can make a lot unless you are willing to go to the effort to like import them. But it's good. It's basically like just chili with Fritos on top, which are, I mean, they are kind of like strips of Doritos almost,
yeah.
right? But they offer a lot of crunch, a little bit of flavor to them.
I like it.
I like it, yeah. So while we keep picking at this food, a few Texas Joe's facts for you. Joe himself is a real person. He's not like a caricature. His real name is Joe Walters, and he is actually from Dallas. So
Oh,
he
shoot.
is an actual Texan. Personally, when I saw the name of this place, I just thought it was maybe like a kind of caricature, like a parody character that they'd invented. Like, hey, I'm Texas Joe. But thankfully it's not. He is a real person. He's an American. He is kind of like an entrepreneur / restaurateur. He actually got his kind of break in the UK by appearing on Dragon's Den, which is like Shark Tank, our version of Shark Tank. He actually started by pitching beef jerky back in like 2013, I think, so quite a while ago. He got some investment from Peter Jones and then went on to sell jerky and also to open up some barbecue pop-ups. Barbecue is like a big passion of his, right? The jerky was kind of like a side quest, but barbecue was always the main mission. He had a few pop-ups for barbecue, kind of around like southeast London, and then eventually was able to open up Texas Joe's in 2016. It does have like credentials as well. So when I was in Texas eating barbecue, I was lucky enough to go to Snow's Barbecue, which is like a bit of an institution. It's run by this 90-year-old pitmaster called Tootsie Tominetz, who's a bit of a legend in the barbecue game. And I was chatting to her and she said, oh, you're from London, you need to go to Texas Joe's. Because she had met Texas Joe, or Joe, at a convention, like a barbecue convention a few years ago. And he had obviously said, you know, I'm doing Texas barbecue in London. And she supports the mission. Various people in the UK have said it's good. The press have said it's good. It made Time Out's list of like best restaurants in Southeast London. The Standard put it in their list of best barbecue restaurants.
Wow.
And it also made the Houston Chronicle. So someone actually, again, from the US, did come over here, try it for themselves, and did approve. As an American, What would you kind of say your overall Texas Joe's experience has been like so far? Does this kind of live up to what you were expecting?
If I'm being completely transparent, it does live up to it.
Okay.
But there is one thing I think is missing.
Go ahead.
Which again, it might be a hot take for some people. Pulled pork.
They do have pork shoulder on the menu.
Okay.
Unclear if that's pulled or not.
Okay.
So I don't want to malign Texas Joe's just in case they do in fact pull a pork
Gotcha.
shoulder.
But overall, it was still really, really good though.
Okay. Of what we had today, I think the rib was my favorite piece.
Oh.
So they clearly know their way around a pig.
They do. They do.
A little more pork on the menu.
Yeah. No, but no, generally it was really, really tasty.
I really like it. I think in terms of like comparing it to the experiences of Texas barbecue that I've had, the vibe is great. They've kind of nailed the vibe. It does feel like a Texas barbecue restaurant. Yeah. The decor, the music that's playing in the background. Also, again, it's opened by an actual Texan. It's not just like performative.
That's what helps as well. That's what makes it like, puts that cherry on top.
Definitely. I will say, food-wise, it's not the best brisket I've had. They might have just had an off day, so I'm not going to like dunk on them too hard.
Of course.
But a little too
tough?
But a little tough. Yeah,
I was going to say, it could be a bit tender.
Yeah, definitely. They do things the right way. Like they're smoking these slowly, like 10 hours, I think they were saying on average for the brisket, which should be enough time for it to kind of really, like I say, break down, tenderize. But for me, it just didn't quite hit that. However, sausages, fantastic.
I love that.
Rib, fantastic. Really love the sides. I know you're a side guy.
I'm a side guy, bro. I love me some sides.
And we got our big red. Ooh. Are you feeling nice and hyperactive now?
I'm feeling super energetic. Let's go! Pumped! Give me the mac and cheese. I will have a little bit more of that. That was genuinely so tasty.
Really fantastic mac and cheese. If you were feeling like homesick at any point, would you come back to Texas Joe's?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I get a big plate of mac and cheese, get some sausages.
Yeah.
And I try that pork shoulder as well, just to see how it was.
So yeah, I definitely come back. I think it's really fun. I think again, I'd like to give them another try on the brisket because I think they could probably, on a better day, I'd be more impressed with the brisket. Day. But we do all have bad days.
Like Hannah Montana said, everyone makes mistakes.
Exactly. The wisest of all of us. I'm so mad at myself because we've literally just wrapped up at Texas Joe's. We finished all the food. And then I remembered that I brought my cowboy hat with me.
That is so legendary. And you really forgot.
Now we're in Texas. Are you ready for more?
But I'm ready. Let's go, man.
We're on the way to our next spot. I wanted to pick Kay Geordie's brains on being an American in London. Can you tell me the best thing about being an American here in London?
I think the best thing about just like living in the UK and especially London is the access to travel. You are literally one flight away from countries you see on Windows screensavers. You're going to Spain for 30 quid round trip. You can go to Germany for the same. Shoot, you can even train from London to Paris for like what, 100 quid, 150 quid?
You can.
You can't beat that. And as cool as America is, that we have like 5 terrains in one country, you're in a cool bubble, but it's still a bubble. Where here you feel more connected to different cultures in the world, and I love it.
Nice. That's a pretty good bonus. I feel like I do not utilize that nearly enough. Like I haven't seen that much of Europe, and I really need to get better at doing that. And then on the other hand, what's maybe something that you miss about the US or something that you don't love about the UK?
See, I'm not gonna be typical. A lot of people will say food, which is up there, but I gotta say it's the weather. If you want to pan, when a place looks like gray and rainy and it's this cold, it's not the most enjoyable to be around, but you almost get used to it. But the weather, when you wake up, it looks like a freaking backdrop of just a gray screen. You're like, damn, do I want to go outside today? So I'll stay inside and have a coffee instead.
Those are both completely valid points. The next place we're going to, Detroit Pizza. So a short walk from the last place to this one. Here we are at Detroit Pizza. We're at their Spitalfields location. They have 2 locations, one here and one in Islington. Have you had Detroit style pizza before, and have you had it in London before?
I've had Detroit style, but back in the US, not in London before.
Okay.
And I will say it's very, not undercover, but like probably one of the most unpopular ones with all the pizza styles.
Unpopular or just like underrepresented?
Underrepresented.
Maybe? Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
It's not that people hate it, they just haven't tried it yet.
Exactly, there we go.
Gotcha. I shamefully have never tried Detroit style pizza anywhere, let alone in the UK. So I'm going to be experiencing it for the first time. I'm relying on your sage wisdom and guidance.
Let's go.
They cook it in those steel pans,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's crispy all the way around?
Yeah, a little thicker, but not as thick as like Chicago. So that's why it's a good combo.
Bit of a hybrid pizza.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's tasty.
But
Let's
I've
go.
heard great things. I mean,
Oh,
these
yeah.
guys come super highly reviewed. This is one of the kind of like people's favorite pizzas, I
Yeah.
would say, in London. They only opened in 2020 for the first time, but have just built like such a die-hard cult following.
I mean, look at the walls. You see Top Jaw, Dana White's on there, Jolly. So it's, I mean, you can tell they have a good reputation,
They've got some internet pedigree.
to say the least.
We're going to see if they deserve the hype.
Let's do it. Let's get it.
When I review pizzas, I generally like to start with like a simple one, like a margarita, cheese and tomato, kind of get a feel for just the ingredients. And then maybe we can, after that, get a little bit more ambitious with some of the toppings.
I like that. Ambitious.
Sound good? Yeah.
let's do it. Let's get ambitious with our pizza.
All right, I'm going to go order.
All right, let's go. It's just a work of art.
No words needed. So this is the Red Stripe. This is their classic cheese and tomato, the Detroit pizza way. It's loaded with cheese, cooked in those blue steel pans. I mean, should we just dig in and then?
Bro, let's dig in.
Let's dig in. I'm gonna grab one of these slices. So this is
It is light. Yeah,
It's light. Yeah.
He was telling us that the dough is super light and airy. And
So I
Wow.
mean, just before I destroy it, I'll show the camera. So this is actually a sourdough base. So it's relatively light. It's like airy, fluffy, with of course that crispy cheese crust around the
Cheers.
outside. Cheers, man.
damn,
Yeah.
this is actually something serious.
I went in from that corner. I want some of the cheese crust. I'm going in from the side this time.
Ah, okay. The sauce. Oh my god.
People often comment on my videos because every time I bite food that I like, I do it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, sometimes food is good enough that it deserves an mm-hmm, you know?
It just doesn't definitely deserves it.
Okay, talk me through what you're experiencing here.
I love how light and airy it is. When you bite into it, it's a nice crisp crunch, and the sauce is actually very, very flavorful. That's one of the first things I've noticed. But I love how when I first thought of a Detroit pizza, I thought it was gonna be a lot like heavier and like thick. But I love how just like light and subtle it is.
Yeah.
This
I mean,
is
look
good.
how like airy the dough is. It's light. Like it's not a. I think when most Brits see a pizza like this, I think like most of our introduction to the style of pizza, like a pan pizza, is like Pizza Hut. That's definitely kind of where I first started with pan pizza in the UK. But Pizza Hut in the UK is like a heavy, oily, very doughy pizza, and this is not that at all. It's kind of like got that satisfying bready chew to it,
Yep.
but without the like heaviness and the grease.
Said it perfectly, my man. I love the cheese crust as well.
The cheese crust adds a layer, both texturally, like you get that little crispy crunch on the outside, also flavor-wise, just that caramelized cheese that you get around the edge. The sauce is really good as well, like has a real tanginess, a real acidity to it. Almost like I feel slightly deceived, but in a good way.
No, that's the best way to put it.
You look at it and you're like, oh, okay, like, I'm gonna feel this one. But then you bite into it, you're like, oh damn, I could quite easily finish this whole thing.
I was gonna say I could probably crush two of them bad boys.
This was their like medium size, which they say could feed two people, but also now that I've had some of it, going in I was like, no way does that feed one. You know, I don't think I could get all that down myself. But now that I've had some, I'm like, actually maybe I could.
And I'll be honest, to how it compares to Detroit style I had back home, one on one.
Yeah,
Yeah. I gotta give it to them.
legit stuff.
Pretty accurate. If not better. But maybe because my expectations weren't as high, but it exceeded it, so I'm happy.
Fine. They're doing it the right way. Like they've imported all of these like blue steel pans straight out of Detroit. So in terms of like the method that they're using, I think the oven is even imported from the
From
US.
Kansas, you said.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, they are like paying homage to the original. They're not just using like whatever pans they have around. They're doing it authentically the right way.
And you can tell by the pizza, you can tell it in the taste.
I think he said he was going to bring more pizza out, so I don't want to eat too much more of this, but it's hard to stop eating.
I was gonna say, I've already finished my piece. I was eating more than talking. That's how you know it's good.
I'm a big fan.
It gets a big mwah. It gets up from me.
Pizza number 2 has arrived. This one is their Maui Wowie pizza, which I think is like the Detroit pizza take on a Hawaiian. There's a lot going on.
I was gonna say this bad boy is just low-key stressing me out. I'm getting sensory overload from looking at the pizza.
In addition to the dough, which we now know and love, and the cheese crust, we have ham, bacon, pineapple, jalapenos, and sesame seeds on here. There's a lot to digest, metaphorically and
I was gonna
physically. Shall we have a
You know
have a
what?
little munch?
Whoa, okay,
How
this one
crispy this-
already has some weight to it.
How crispy the bacon is. So I did a show called Food Wars, which you may or may not have seen. And my friend Joe Avella, an American, was always complaining about UK bacon, how it's never like thin and crispy, whereas he never came to Detroit pizza.
Yum, yum.
Let's give it a go. That's a complicated mouthful.
Again, it does shock you because it looks so thick and so deep. Then you bite it and you realize it really isn't that heavy.
The dough honestly just kind of like
Yeah.
disappears when you bite into it, right?
All right, me being a sauce guy and an American that absolutely loves ranch. Ranch and pizza go together like air and a balloon. Peanut butter and jelly. The tube in London, but oh my goodness. I am a ranch guy.
Ranch is another thing where I think I've kind of slightly incorrectly claimed that we don't have in the UK, but we do. Like it's not super common, right? But if you go to a place that's doing kind of American style food like this, I'd say increasingly you can expect to find it on the menu. Why do you love ranch so much? Why do you think Americans love ranch so much?
It's one of those things we grew up with that was almost like a staple. You have pizza, there's always ranch next to it. Chicken nuggets, fries, it's a common dip. It's something that like I associate pizza with.
Fine.
So whenever I don't have pizza with ranch, I'm like, wait a minute, I need my ranch.
Okay.
It's bad, it's a bad addiction.
But I'm glad that Detroit Pizza is delivering again on that kind of American element. Are you a pineapple on pizza guy typically? You are? I come and go on it. I think if it's done well, it's good. One that I experienced recently was sweet corn on a pizza, which is something that I've never really had before. That my good friend Big Nibbles said it was really good. So we tried it and it was decent. Although I think maybe I might prefer pineapple if I had to have like a sweet thing on my pizza, probably pineapple. How does this compare to the standard one? Obviously, we've gone from a very kind of straightforward pizza to a slightly chaotic pizza.
I do prefer this.
Interesting.
It has a lot more personality,
Yeah.
and because of that, it is more tasty.
Okay.
And maybe because I have ranch, and I'm a fiend for ranch. What about you?
See, for me, I think this exemplifies the kind of general US-UK approaches to food in some ways, because I much preferred the just standard red
simple.
stripe. Yeah. I like simplicity. I like simple things done well. The red stripe for me was just a very simple pizza, but done really well. This one, I don't know, it's like ADHD in a bite.
Yeah, no.
You bite it and you're
It's everywhere.
like, your mind is racing. It's like, I don't want to
Jeez.
Yeah, if I did have a sort of a clap back to Americans who say British food is bland, I would say sometimes Americans can go just a bit too chaotic
Overboard.
with the flavorings. There's like, not everything needs 500 spices. We could definitely have, a few more spices, but dial it back a little bit.
I was gonna say, I feel like British taste buds are trained for that.
Sure.
Where our taste buds are trained for like crazy, exuberant, ADHD pizza spice.
Go.
My taste buds are doing a Dougie right now. We're chilling. Meanwhile, yours are dying. I know I sound like a freaking hypocrite, but to go back on what I just said, sometimes, especially pizza, when there's too much, it almost kind of ruins it. But because it says Detroit, it's the crust that's thick enough to hold all the stuff.
Sure.
If you had all this stuff on a New York slice, it'll just droop off. The cheese would be melting on the plate, and it just wouldn't be good vibes.
Yeah, this on a Neapolitan, same issue.
Yeah.
But I think, again, they're kind of playing to what they have, right?
Yep.
They have this like surprisingly light, but also quite robust base. So you've got the license to kind of be a bit experimental with it, get a bit out there.
The pizza's been hitting the gym, baby.
Beefy pizza. I don't know about you, but I'm close to my limit of pizza. But they did just bring one more out, and it looks, again, off the chain. This is the Cadillac, which contains pepperoni, bacon, banana peppers. I think there's parsley in there, as well as some honey.
Oh man, this is the one I'm looking most forward to because I love the honey on like spicy hot pizzas. I think it's a good little combo, nice little combo.
This should deliver on both of those elements. It's got all that going on. Let's give it a try.
I am excited.
Come on.
Goodness gracious, I'm taking that to pepperoni, yes. Oh my, this is my favorite.
Really, straight to the top.
Straight to the top. No build up, nothing.
It's really
That's
good.
good.
Compared to the Maui Wowie, I think you get like more of the kind of familiar pizza elements to this one. Like the cheese comes through a bit more strongly. The tomato sauce kind of takes more of a front seat again. And obviously it's got like pepperoni, quite familiar pizza topping. The honey is doing a lot for this, right? Quite generous with the honey drizzle that they added on the end. And you really taste it, it really comes through.
But now I'm starting to think, maybe I like the sauce. Because the OG one had that stripe of sauce on the top that really added that flavor. We have it again with the honey. So it's very, I don't want to say moist, but that's not the right word to describe a pizza. But it's very, very good.
I think unfortunately moist might be the accurate word.
Yeah.
I know people hate the word moist, but get over it.
This is a moist pizza.
It's a really good pizza. In general, I think just because of the dough that they're using and the kind of care and attention and how relatively light this all is for what we're actually getting, like what we're seeing with our eyes versus what we're tasting, it feels like got an almost gourmet quality to it. And it feels almost more like a sort of, you've gone to a bakery that does really good bread and they're like topping the bread with various delicious things. I don't know.
That's a very good way to put it. Yeah,
You agree? You get what I'm going for there?
It's premium.
Yeah.
The best way to put it is freaking premium.
Premium product. We've had like a few of these now. We've had a busy day of eating so far, but I'm finding it kind of hard to stop eating it. And again, could be like, I could still put quite a lot of this away, even if I wanted to. Are you a banana peppers fan?
I am. Anything pickled or in vinegar, I love it.
Banana peppers were like a recurring theme on my US UK videos. Because again, not something that's common in the UK. This is one of the few times I've seen them in the UK. Turns out you can in fact get them, as is the point of this video. But they're not super common, but I think they said they make them in-house, and basically you're just taking like a yellow pepper and brining it in jalapeno juice, I think, right? So you get this kind of like almost slight sweetness from the bell pepper with that heat from the jalapeno juices and the brines. It's like acid. I mean, they're really good. I don't know why they're not as popular in the UK as they are in the US.
I was gonna say, funny enough, I've grown up with banana peppers my entire life. Didn't know it was a yellow bell pepper. I thought they were like, you grow them or something like that. Funnily enough.
What's your favorite UK slang? Like describing something as tasty. Do you have like a UK slang word for that yet?
Is scrumptious? Is that British? No.
That's scrumptious. I would say that's British, but that's like more like 1930s British rather than like roadman street slang for today.
It's not describing something, but scran. I love the word scran.
Just using that as like referring to food, scran.
Better get some scran.
Uh-huh.
What are some British, like modern day British words to describe food?
Depends where you are in the country, but
Okay.
I'm a southern boy, so the southern ones. You can use like peng. Can also be used to refer to an attractive person, but peng munch, peng food.
Lang.
Leng, peng. Seems to be a lot of kind of, just variations with eng on the end. Bangin', of course.
This is peng.
It's banging and peng, yeah, all of the above.
Peng banging, baby.
We've had a lot of pizza. I think I am finally hitting my upper limit of how much pizza I can eat today. What's your overall verdict on Detroit pizza? Do you enjoy this place? Would you recommend it? Do you think it is kind of like authentically American again?
Like I mentioned earlier, I was a bit skeptical, but no, this actually lives up to the hype.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
I think you said it best. Like a premium bakery, put on some sauce, some cheese, some toppings. It really does taste good.
Yeah.
And all you can tell that he spent time and effort trying to perfect his recipe, because like it goes through. Now, if you're someone who doesn't like a lot of toppings and is a bit extra, but like I think it does what it needs to do. It's really tasty.
Yeah, I agree. This is like, it's blown me away. I would absolutely come back for this. It tastes nostalgic enough that it's like, it reminds you sort of those like Pizza Hut deep pan pizzas that myself and I'm sure lots of other Brits grew up with, but just kicked up to like a kind of gourmet, very delicious, and also significantly less oily level, which is great. We got the medium pies today, which I think when I saw them, I was like, that's massive, no way I could eat that. But I could quite easily have put a whole one of these away and still had room for more afterwards, and not felt like heavy and oily and greasy.
And disgusting like most pizzas, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, in terms of like taking the concept of pizza, doing something new, fun with it, broadly unfamiliar to the UK, they're doing a great job. They're killing it.
Shout out to them, man. Shout out to Detroit Pizza.
And they sell Nilla, so cheers.
Thanks for having me. Seriously, I had a good time.
Me too. It's been a pleasure. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave you to it. I've got a couple more restaurants to eat, but I don't want to put you through any more unhealthy eating.
It's okay. Thank you.
Okay, Geordie is going to leave us now, so please give him a follow. He's going to be in the collab thing down here.
Thank you so much, man.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Ooh. I'm on my way to Passyunk Avenue, not the actual avenue in Philadelphia, but the Philadelphia-inspired restaurant chain right here in London. The real Passyunk is the location of Pat's and Gino's, which are two of the most famous cheesesteak places in the US, places that I have eaten at myself, and with a name like that, I'm expecting big things. Kensington, the land of rich people, and apparently cheesesteaks. So here we are at Passyunk Avenue. I know that my American audience are going to be worried about this place's credentials, but rest assured there are links to Philly here. Passyunk Avenue was founded by a guy called J.P. Tetty, not to be confused with Alex Tetty, the Norwich midfielder. Now he is an American, although he did spend most of his time growing up in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, rather than in Philly. That said, his family is rooted in Philadelphia. That was the first place they moved when they migrated from Italy. He still had grandparents and cousins in Philly and spent a lot of time in and around central Philly while he was growing up. The first Passyunk Avenue location actually opened up on my birthday, the 5th of April in 2018. Because this place is very much kind of a dive bar vibe, they did that to coincide with the Phillies season opener. They're now up to 4 locations in London, so it's safe to say they're doing pretty well. Looking at the menu, obviously I have to get a Philly cheesesteak. I think I'm just gonna go whiz wit, which is cheese whiz and onions. They also have tater tots on the menu, which are one of the things which I famously claimed are not a thing in the UK. Turns out I was wrong, so I'm gonna get these ones and see how they compare to the American versions that I've had before. While it might not be a Philly dish, I'm also gonna get some buffalo wings because they're kind of known for those here in the UK. They put a lot of emphasis on their wings, so I wanna see how they stack up. I'm hungry, let's get the order in. So here we have the food from Passyunk Avenue. I've got the classic cheesesteak whiz wit. We have some tater tots in a South Philly seasoning, and we have their buffalo wings. I want to start with the cheesesteak because I want to eat the whiz before it solidifies. So cheers. That's very good. Okay, so a few observations on the Passyunk cheesesteak. The bread, really, really good. I would say that is very reminiscent of what I've had in Philly. It's that kind of baguette style roll, but you only have like a teeny bit of crisp on the outside compared to like a French baguette. It's mostly just like this kind of pillowy, soft, nice and chewy roll. The steak is great. It's ribeye, which I think is the authentic cut of meat that they use in Philly. Got the onions throughout it, and of course that whiz. They're making their own whiz in-house. I think there are some legal complications with bringing actually American whiz into the UK, but that whiz is fantastic. The whiz they're using has probably got like a more natural feel to it, I think, as a result of not being American. It's like a cheddar blend that they have, and then I think there's like some bicarbonate of soda in there to give it that texture that whiz really is known for. I will say, considering some of the cheese sticks that I had in Philly and how kind of like dense and heavy they were, this doesn't feel too overpowering so far. It's not like a greasy sandwich. I'm not saying it's like a light snack by any means. It's still like got a nice bit of heft to it, but it's not an overly greasy in-your-face cheesesteak either. I think if I had to offer them any critiques, I would say maybe the meat is sliced slightly too much. I personally would prefer some like slightly bigger ribbons of that steak. And also maybe the whiz could have been kind of mixed throughout the steak a little bit more, just because so far I'm mostly kind of getting it on the like outsides and then in the middle as, you know, a bit more of the just the beef mix. But that said, this is still, I would say, a pretty authentic cheesesteak. This honestly is very reminiscent of the ones that I had on my trip to Philly. It's very tasty. It's got that like satisfying, slightly dirty feel to it, which I appreciate. They've not tried to like make it fancy or anything. This is just a cheesesteak and a tasty one at that. They do offer some other cheeses if you're not a whiz fan. I think they have a provolone or just an American cheese option. I'm really impressed by the bread. The bread I think is almost the star of the show for me here. Next up we have the tater tots, which I controversially claimed are not a thing here in the UK when clearly they are because I'm holding one. What they do here is they kind of like grate potato basically. It's like almost a mashed potato, kind of grated potato vibe, which is then kind of balled up and then fried. They have a few different topping options. These ones are the South Philly seasoning, which are Parmesan, oregano, and a garlic powder as well. Cheers. Yeah, the oregano is a really nice touch. It's very reminiscent of when you go to like a Greek restaurant. They always seem to have really good chips, and I do think the secret to that is just a lot of salt and a lot of oregano. It's a really good pairing. The texture of those is fantastic. What I want in a tater tot is a very crispy outside because they are deep fried, but then the inside is just like almost mashed potato. Like it's so fluffy, it's light. And that hits all the boxes. I think on their own, they don't have too much flavor. Obviously they've added the seasonings here, which has helped. But even then, I think like dipping these in something, whether it's the blue cheese, they do ranch here as well. Always a good move. They are kind of just like mini hash browns. There was a McDonald's menu item like a year or two ago. They had those kind of small waffle versions of the hash brown, which I absolutely loved. And these kind of remind me of those because you get like a lot of surface area for the crisp on the outside, and then you get that nice light fluffy potato on the inside. Maybe these are a thing in the UK, but they could stand to be more of a thing. Again, not strictly a Philly dish, but I did want to try the buffalo wings while I was here because they are kind of known for their wings. They put a lot of emphasis on their wings. They have Wing Wednesdays here, where I think you can either pay £1 per wing, or you can just pay £20 and get unlimited wings. They also have a wing eating contest here. We looked at the leaderboard, which they have on the wall, and I think the record is like in the high 70s. I don't know how long you get to do that. I'm imagining not that much time. But yeah, so they're passionate about wings here at Passyunk. Gotta say, passing the eye test, that is a good size chicken wing, not one of those scrawny little ones. They're deep fried, so they're nice and crispy on the outside, and then they're coated with their own buffalo sauce. I think buffalo sauce is something that we have a lot of in the UK, like wings, we're no strangers to in the UK, but I have had a lot of bad wings, whether it's, you know, the wing itself is really small and a bit sinewy, or I think some people maybe think that buffalo sauce is like just Frank's Red Hot and that's about it. But in reality, a good buffalo sauce should be a hot sauce, probably Frank's. You need a lot of butter in there, and also you want some vinegar as well. You want some tang, bit of flavor balance. I'm trying to create a lollipop with this one, but it hasn't really worked. That was a good wing. A little bit crispy on the outside, not too heavy on the sauce, so it still retains some of that crunch. Meat on the inside, super juicy, exactly what you want, cooked well. And the sauce is really good. That's definitely one of the better buffalo wings that I've had here in the UK. You have the heat from the Franks, but it does have that kind of like vinegary tang to it, and it's nice and buttery as well. I gotta say, again, while not a Philly dish, I think they're doing justice to the people of Buffalo. Overall, I have to say, pretty impressed by Passyunk. This really does feel very reminiscent of food that I've had in the US before. One thing that I do love about this place is just the vibe. We don't really have dive bars here in the UK, but that is very much the feel that I'm getting from Passyunk. For those who haven't experienced a dive bar before, the vibe is somewhere between like a sports bar and like a sort of slightly run-down local pub. I say that with affection. Generally in a dive bar in the US, you can expect to see things like sports on the TV, relatively cheap drinks and drink deals, and also some bar games, things like darts. I have been to lots of dive bars in the US. When I was in the US, those were generally my preferred places to drink. It's kind of either that or like a slightly more fancy bar. And this always felt more familiar as a Brit in the US. And this does really feel like I'm kind of back in the US. They've got the slightly kitschy decor. They've got the dollar bills all over the wall. They've got like merch, sports signage everywhere. It really does feel quite dive bar-y. Passyunk has drawn praise from various high-profile figures. Jay Rayner gave it quite a glowing review in The Guardian. They also played host to the Kelsey brothers. Travis and Jason came and recorded an episode of their podcast in a Passyunk in the UK. Jason actually did try a cheesesteak and said it felt like he was back in Philadelphia. From an Eagles legend, that's got to be high praise. Brother George helping out today. Never had a cheesesteak before, so you got to give us your thoughts on the leftovers.
Yeah, first ever time sampling a cheesesteak. Looks amazing. Some ribeye in there, the whiz. Let's give it a go. So simple. Beef, onions, bread, cheese.
So
What else do you need?
That's it. That's the formula.
Never knew what to expect, but it is just that simple.
Have you had whiz before?
Never.
Thoughts? Like the whiz?
Great. Yeah, I love the texture.
It is good. It's one of those things that I think people get snobby about.
But I've always been that way inclined when having barbecues and burgers growing up. I always wanted the plastic American cheese.
Oh yeah.
It's just superior.
Yeah. You don't want it to like overpower what you're eating. The texture is always better. He's making short work of that, so I think that's an endorsement from Brother George. Have you had tots before?
I think I've tried a top before.
You have tried tots. See, they are a thing in the UK. That's what I do, just spread misinformation online. Look, I'm gonna be honest, trick of the trade. Sometimes if I'm making small talk with Joe in a video, it's easier to just say, no, I haven't had that, tell me about it. It makes a much more interesting video than me saying, yeah, no, I've had that. And then we just kind of move on.
Is that what I did then when I just said I've tried a top before?
Yeah, exactly. Terrible co-host.
Never had a top before, guys. Unbelievable.
There you go, now I can tell you all about it, and the viewers at home get to find out as well. It's just kind of living up to your like American dive bar, understanding what you expected from that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, I feel like this is a great representation of America from my opinion. Yeah, we've got stuff going on everywhere. It's very overstimulating being in a true slice of Americana. But yeah, all of the sports memorabilia, it's just really cool being in here. I've got some American friends that I want to recommend this to because I feel like it would be a slice of home.
There you go. Last but by no means least, I'm in the Islington neighbourhood hunting down a cuisine that I think some Americans might be surprised to learn exists in the UK. I'm on my way to Plaquemine Lock for some good old-fashioned soul food. Can't wait for this one, I'll see you in there. So here I am at Plaquemine Lock. Plaquemine Lock opened up in London in 2017. It's the brainchild of chef Jacob Kennedy. Kennedy is actually the grandson of New Orleans businessman, so he's got some pedigree behind him. His great-grandfather was actually one of the people who built the real Plaquemine Lock. It's a major lock that enables ships to get in and out of Louisiana, transporting things like timber and sugarcane. As you'd expect from a Louisiana-themed pub, they claim to be serving authentic Cajun and Creole cuisine. I have to say the menu does look really good. There's things like seafood, you've got seafood boils, oysters, there's po' boys on the menu, and of course soul food classics like jambalaya and gumbo. I'm gonna go place my order, get a little range of things to try, and then give you my thoughts. So I brought a few bits out as the starters. I had to try one of these bacon beignets, which just looks insane. It's a beignet with bacon in it, what's not to love? Also got some cornbread, comes with pickles, and what looks to be like a whipped butter with some cayenne on it, and oysters. To be honest, not usually the biggest oyster fan, but at £1 a pop, can you really go wrong? I'm going to start with the oysters. I had my first ever fried oyster when I was in New Orleans, which I hadn't really tried before. To be honest, if I'm going to have them, I think just the classic, raw is the way to go. fresh, juicy, not overly fishy. Vinaigrette and a little bit of this lime goes a long way. I'm kind of sad that cornbread isn't an option in more places in the UK, because it is really good. It's like somewhere between a cake and a bread. That's really good. I'd say maybe a smoother texture than some of the cornbreads that I've had in the US before. Sometimes you get them with like quite a coarsely ground cornmeal, but this one, pretty smooth. Still can't quite get my head around this bacon beignet. I think it's a starter. It could quite easily be a dessert, but I think it's a starter. There's a ton of powdered sugar on here, sort of like slightly caramelized bacon on the inside, and obviously the beignet itself, which is kind of a donut, effectively a donut. Let's give it a try. I'm not covered in powdered sugar, but it's worth it. I'm gonna say something slightly controversial perhaps. When I was in New Orleans, I went to Café du Monde, which is kind of like that very famous home of the beignet place. And I wasn't blown away. I thought the beignets that I had from there were nice, but very, very doughy, like extremely chewy. Whereas this one has kind of more what I want in terms of like, I guess, a beignet texture. It's a little bit airier on the inside. Actually relatively light and fluffy given that you are eating a fried donut with bacon inside it. Even though it's got bacon in it, to me this actually might still make more sense as a dessert because it's very sweet. But hey, when in New Orleans. I will say I really like the vibe in here. Having experienced New Orleans myself, this does have that kind of like Southern hospitality feel. Staff are super friendly, they got some great happy hour deals on the menu. They also have musicians come in pretty much every day and play live jazz music, which again, very New Orleans, very Bourbon Street. The decor is good fun. I'm not sure maybe how New Orleans the decor itself is, but there are lots of kind of nods to New Orleans all over the place. Okay, my mains have now arrived and I'm really excited. So I went for a po' boy and gumbo, which to me were probably two of the best things that I had while I was in New Orleans, and I think represent that kind of Southern Cajun Creole food quite well. I mean, just look at the absolute state of this po' boy. This thing is loaded. I went for the Peacemaker, which contains fried shrimp and fried oysters. In terms of other toppings, again, looking pretty much like what I had in New Orleans. They're relatively simple sandwiches. There's tomato, there's lettuce, there's a bit of mayo. They have added pickles in this one, but just look at this fried seafood. They have packed the seafood in there, kind of quite neatly arranged. It's like a oyster, shrimp, oyster, shrimp, oyster, shrimp. So you get a bit of everything in each bite. I can't wait, this looks great. That's so good. The breading on the seafood is unbelievable. The amount of crisp that they've got on that. The amount of seasoning in there, it's salty, it's peppery, it's a little bit spicy. That is fantastic. Fried oysters are, I would say, less common in the UK than they are in the US. Typically, if you see oysters on a menu over here, they will just be in the kind of raw form. But they can be really good fried. It's kind of like surprising. I pretty much only got the oyster just there, so I'm gonna go back in for this enormous, juicy bit of shrimp. Even with a mouth as big as mine, that's tricky to get everything in one bite. I will say, that stacks up really well against the po' boys that I had in the US. I've had Johnny's, I've had Killers, I've had some very highly rated po' boys out in the US, and I would say this could go toe to toe with pretty much any of them. If I had to give them any notes, small notes, they have toasted the bread, and they've actually toasted it like on the darker side of things. I think that combined with how much of that crispy breading you're getting on the seafood, it's a little dry, a touch dry, a little more sauce perhaps, but don't let that detract from just how good this sandwich is overall anyway. The bread that they're using here, I would say, is pretty much just a French baguette. Again, maybe not quite faithful to the exact New Orleans style, but while I was out in New Orleans, a lot of the chefs went out of their way to tell me that the bread that they use for po' boys in New Orleans can kind of only be made in New Orleans. Something to do with the humidity that you get down there in that kind of like Louisiana bayou atmosphere. Gives that bread like a very soft, pillowy rise. Whereas this one, like I say, slightly denser. They have toasted it, so it's a little crunchier on the outside. But I think it works. I think it's like a good vehicle for all this seafood. In terms of pricing, this is the Peacemaker with the shrimp and the oysters, and I think it set me back £18. In terms of sandwiches, that is definitely on the pricier side. However, if I had to say anything in their defense, I would say you're getting an enormously generous portion of seafood. Oysters and shrimp are not cheap. Also, you can tell this isn't just like a thrown together slapdash sandwich. This is like a proper chef restaurant sandwich. Also extremely filling, like I'm not even halfway through this and I'm already feeling it. Putting the po' boy to one side for a second because this gumbo is calling my name. Now, on my travels with Joe, I was fortunate enough to try some really great American food. Gumbo as a dish might have been my favorite thing that I had in the US. A lot of the food that I had on my travels with Joe tended to be, you know, like sandwichy, burgery things or fried food, whereas then being able to have like a stew felt just very like warming, comforting, and I love the flavors that they use. On paper, again, this one sounds relatively authentic. There's shrimp in here, they've got andouille sausage in here, all cooked on one of those dark roux sauces. That takes me back. The sauce has such a beautiful velvety richness to it. The rice, still just a touch al dente, really perfectly cooked. The andouille sausage, so good. It's got a heat to it, there's a real kick there. It's meaty, it's satisfying. Chicken in here too. I do love that about gumbo, you get so much protein for your buck. I would be interested to hear the thoughts of a Louisiana native on this gumbo, but to me, at least from what I can remember, this is hitting all the key areas. It's flavorful, there's layers of flavor going on there. I have to say, overall, now having tried a pretty good cross-section of the menu, I'm very impressed by this place. This is absolutely not just someone slapping Louisiana or New Orleans on a menu and kind of calling it a day. This is actually food that's been made with care, attention, love, and I would say pretty good respect for tradition. Fantastic food, lovely vibe in here. I'm definitely going to bring my friends back when there is jazz music playing as well for like a fun night out. Okay, well, I've managed to eat my way around a good portion of the US without leaving London. I'm very happy, I'm very full. I'm going to get my leftovers to go and then give you some closing thoughts when I get home. I'm going to be honest, I forgot to record an outro on the day of filming. It's now a couple of weeks in the future, and thanks to a cold, I've completely lost my voice. So please excuse me for what will now be quite a brief outro. In summary, it turns out that I was in fact wrong when I claimed we couldn't find certain American foods here in London. After a little bit of digging and a lot of eating, it turns out that yeah, you pretty much can find most American foods right here in the UK. Typically in these videos, I like to pick a favorite or a number one spot, but because all the places I went to were very different, I think that's quite hard this time. What I would say is that I would happily endorse any of the places that I went to in this video. The only letdown really was that brisket from Texas Joe's, but even the rest of that was really good. If pushed for a top two, I could probably narrow it down to Plaquemine and Detroit Pizza. I just think in terms of the vibes and the quality of the food, they both delivered in spades. Thank you so much to K Geordie for joining me. Please do give him a sub if you're still here. Also, of course, another shout out to my brother George for his camera work and expertise. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're new here. I've got loads more fun content in the pipeline, including my first UK tour video outside of London. I'm gonna go find some cough syrup, but thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one.